Farrell's bass lessons. It's been a while. This actually isn't really a lesson, this is more of a product review or a demo, I guess, of the new insanely interesting TC electronic octave pedal, the SubNUp. I just got this bad boy today. Oops. Got this bad boy today, and I'll put it straight into my pedal board. And I have it, as you can see, I actually have it behind my looper pedal, my effects send return pedal, and I'll show you some cool stuff you can do with that. But for the first section of this demo, I'm going to be running this pedal 100% signal straight into the octave pedal, so it's just the same as plugging straight in, or at least as close as you can get. And I'm going to show you on 3 different basses exactly what sort of sounds you can get out of it. I'm going to show you what it sounds like going through a passive PJ, and then through an active MTD, and through an active modulus fretless. And I'm going to work through the sounds. So the options you have on the pedal are your typical sort of octave pedal, because this is designed to be used with guitar as well. We've got a sub and then a double sub, so 2 octaves below the clean signal. You've got a blend for the clean signal, and then you've got an octave up. This low sub is so low that I'm not even going to touch it today, because it just doesn't, I can't see how it could be effective on bass. I even tried it with my piccolo bass, and it's really deep. So we're going to stick to the sub, the octave up. Now this thing is very cool. If you click this little toggle switch down, it functions like a normal, like an old school monophonic octave pedal. And that means that if you use certain intervals, you can actually get it to sound almost like a ring modulator. I'll show you that in a sec. Then if you put it up to the top, this is why I was actually really interested in this pedal, because I've been looking for an octave up effect like the one that's in the Boss ME50B, because that's essentially the only effect I use in that pedal, and it's that Richard Bonner sort of gives it that bit of shimmer, that octave above your bass note, especially when you're playing solos and melodies. So I was very interested in trying to find a compact pedal that could just serve that purpose. So I'll show you some cool ways to use that in conjunction with the effects send pedal in a minute at the end of the review demo. This is really a demo. Let's call it a demo. I don't know. We'll figure out what we're going to call it. Anyway, with no further ado, I'm just going to start noodling. I've got a little loop here, little Fruity Loops loop. This is the P bass. So this is the clean signal. Actually, just the front pickup. So now we'll just go with the low sub. I mean the 1 octave below the clean signal. On the classic, sorry, the classic. So you can hear it's getting there. Might be a bit too woolly for it to really track. I'll come back to it later with the jazz pickup dialed in. This is it, just the octave, just the upper octave. Alright, let's try the sub plus the clean signal. the octave on this pedal is almost like a little cushion. You need a clean signal in there. What have we got? Let's try the clean signal plus the octave up. Yeah, I really like that. Pretty mean. Let's have a look at this. This is going to be just the sub and the octave. So there's no clean signal in there. And what you can actually do when you have just the sub and the octave, I'll show you this in the active basses, it might be more effective. But because we're running it in monophonic, you can actually get this really cool almost ring modulator effect with certain intervals. So if you do like a minor seventh, you know, major thirds. Oh. So it's cool because you can sort of think more texturally than in terms of, you know, intervals in the harmony. So if you have a line, it reminds me of that some of that Wayne Grant stuff he does with the ring modulator. And now I'll show you all that stuff again with the other tone that I can get out of this bass with the jazz pickup dialed in. It's got flat wounds on it, by the way, so that's why it's got that kind of thunky vibe to it. So see how it's tracking a bit better? I feel like, I really like the sound. If you're going to go just using just the sub on an octave pedal, I think it's a great idea to dial up a more mid-rangey bridge pickup kind of sound. I just think they track better. So you might notice that tracks a lot better than, well, it was tracking fine, but I feel like it's clearer than when we just had the front pickup. Bit too sort of nondescript and woolly. Especially, it's more obvious in the groove. Anyway, so that was the sub. Now let's hear just the octave. Now sub and clean. Mix it a bit. I like that. I'm just a fan of that sound. Because you can go low on the instrument. We've got a clean low note and then the octave. So that's sub and octave and clean. I have to use a chart for my little cartoon brain to figure out where I am up to in the demo. So sub and octave, sub plus clean, octave plus clean, sub and octave plus clean. Okay, here we go. Sub and octave clean. So I'll mix in a bit more low end. Cool. So that's the passive PJ going through the TC Electronic SubNUp pedal. Let's check out a different sound. I might go through my my MTD. So this is a active bass with a pretty mid-rangey profile through my own design, because we're using Nordstrand pickups and a Pope preamp, and I'm sort of using that more sort of low mids kind of a scoop on this one. So this is it. This is it clean. Oh, I got some beard balm on my finger. Cool. Let's check out the low octave. Now we're going to check out the the clean. We'll check out the octave up. Pretty, you know, pretty extreme. That's that monophonic patch. It's very sort of, at least coming through this bass, it's very nasal. The poly patch is a whole other ball game. This is really, you got to think of this like two pedals. The monophonic patch versus the poly patch. It really is like two different beasts. And I'll show you all the poly stuff in a second. So that's the octave up. Check out the sub plus the clean signal. sub plus clean. Now this is the octave up plus the clean. Pretty cool. And now sub and octave plus clean. 1, 2, 4, K, Q. Alright. So I think I missed this out actually in the P bass section. We're going to check out the polyphonic side of the pedal, which is really... So for me, the way I'm seeing this so far, I just got this today, so I'm learning it at the same time as you. To me, the classic, which is the monophonic section, that reminds me really of the Tim... I never know how to say his name. Tim LaFife? Anyway, like the Wayne Krantz stuff with that ring modulator kind of aspect to it. So when I'm thinking classic, I'm thinking this stuff. I'm thinking all those sorts of sound. So it's kind of turning your bass almost into some sort of a synth, you know. It's stepping into textural territory, and I really like that. But the reason I really got this pedal, like I said, was to get that octave up patch that's in the ME50 in a smaller package. And that comes to life when you switch over to the polyphonic section. So, just to show you, it's a very different beast. It's much more like a POG. It's more like a POG 2. It reminds me of that kind of an octave, like a softer effect. So I'll go through all this stuff again, and then I'll show you very quickly the bridge options, and then I'll show you the fretless. But then at the end, I want to show you how to use this in a different way again, because you can do some really cool stuff once you involve a few other pedals. Okay, so using the poly patch, just the sub, you'll hear how soft it sounds in comparison. Comes on slowly, which you might think is unusable. Pretty full on. Like I can actually feel the wind off my studio monitors. Like I can't believe there's a sub below that. All right. This is the octave. Octave, sub plus octave. Different sound. It's really when you're just using that, when you're just using this octave up. Okay, I'll skip ahead a little bit. I'll just add this. It reminds me of the sounds that Tony Gray uses on his album Moving. I think a lot of dudes get these, because it's more of a digital thing, it reminds me of the sounds that are actually in post-production if you tuned your bass up an octave in the studio. So sub and octave, what am I up to? Sub and clean. Okay, and then this is all of them rolled in. See how once you add the clean signal, then those slow acting octaves, they don't sound so unusable. Then they sort of make more sense. I actually really like it. Have any issues tracking that fast stuff, even if it's as sloppy as I just played it. Okay, so that's that. Oh, so yeah, sorry, I switched to like a bridge profile there. Actually, this is taking a while, so I might just go straight to the fretless, and then I'll show you that stuff I wanted to show you. So once again, this is an active level input, and this is a fretless bass. Beautiful bass, actually. I've had this bass since '98, and it's just the only instrument I own where... Actually, it reminds me of... You know, just some instruments just work in every setting. It's just amazing. Anyway, this is an old school modulus from '98. So here we have clean. So a little bit bridgy. Now just the octave. That's that ring modulator vibe. Add them both. Cool, had a little mild brain fart there. Now we're going to add sub and clean. So here we go, sub and clean. 2, 3, 4. So it's interesting, different basses, how you have to mix it slightly differently. I guess it's the different harmonic series. how synthy it is in some settings and on different instruments? Keep up. So clean and octave up. Now all three of them. So sub octave, clean, and octave up. Ooh. I've grown to really like that because by having both, when you're in the classic setting, if you have the low octave and the high octave, that means you can get them to interact and do that ring modulator thing. And by having the clean signal in, you still got the fundamental of the note. So you can get like a, and you still got your actual bass line happening. So if you went, something better than that. And you can also, major thirds seem to trigger it pretty well. You know, you can muck around with that one. Cool, and I'll show you the polyphonic setting. So again, the low is this kind of wish-washy. And then the high is going to be also so it's got no trouble tracking. Let's add low and clean. It's funny that that low octave on the polyphonic setting, it sounds like it's not that loud, but I can actually feel the air coming off the monitors, so it's more just the EQ of it. It's more subby than the low octave of the classic setting. Yeah, like it's actually throwing my speakers around. And then the same again with the upper octave. Sub and clean. Oh man, I keep skipping ahead. Sorry, now clean and octave. And finally, I'll show you all three. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead a little bit because I want to get on to the thing I wanted to show you. So. That's all three, and like so it's super musical, but I just think that that low sub in the polyphonic setting, it's throwing a lot of air for a bass player. Be interested to see how it works on gigs, but I think that you might turn around and see your speakers going. I really love this pedal, but I think it's one of those pedals you're going to have to find the best settings for your instrument. That's why I wanted to show all these three instruments. That's very cool. So, that's the vibe. Like I said, I have two ideas with this pedal immediately, and I'll show them to you right now. You might see here, I've got this X Blender. This is a exotic effects pedal, and it's all it is an effects loop, and it's really cool because you can blend your clean and dry signal. And so what that means is, and also I should have put a disclaimer out there. Obviously, TC Electronic have designed their pedal to be plugged straight into, so you might want to consider that. You know, maybe that has had some effect on the way it's working in this setting. But I mean, like, I don't see anything wrong happening. I think all those settings they've done work and sound musical, so I don't think it's affecting it too much going through this pedal. That's just a clean bypass. It shouldn't really have any effect, but I have heard that things like that can have an effect on how pedals behave. But for what I need it to work behind there. So that's how the cookie crumbles. So I'm going to show you something really cool. If you set up your sound, so for this in particular, this is very much for my, you know, this sound isn't going to be appropriate for every session, right? This is sort of my sound that I hear in my head for you know, music like the jazz fusion sort of stuff, and you know that much more bridge pickup kind of thing. So what you can do is have this set to poly, take the dry out of it entirely so that there's no dry signal. So that if you were going true straight into it, you'd be getting this sort of sound. Okay? But what I'd be inclined to do, you can then add something to it, okay? So for example, I could add vibrato, or I could add the reverb, and then add the clean signal again from the top. Okay. Take that out. Hear that? So you get the shimmer of the octave. Woo. Before we do that, so we were on poly, so we can get away with some chords. Well, might even give it a bit more prominence, so you can just dial in this a little bit, give it a bit more oomph down here, maybe. See how different that sounds? Kind of like that, actually. It's cool, man. Holy again. But that's definitely closer to the Richard Bonner thing. It's not the same because he uses the ME50. get that crazy ring modulator thing happening. Maybe it can be even louder. There you have it. That is the TC Electronic SubNUp pedal. It's pretty damn cool. You'll see that I'm a bit of a fan of TC Electronic. I got the shaker there as well. I'll probably be bumping this pedal out of there soon because I'm finding it hard. A lot of people I know love this pedal, the EBS envelope filter Bass IQ. For some reason, I'm finding it hard to really dial it in. Probably because I'm using, I think it's got a lot to do with the EQ curves I like in my clean bass signal. Some pedals really prefer different kinds of bass EQ curves. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Yeah, peace, love, rock and roll. See ya.